Sony recently came out with version number 6 of the DualSense controller. Today I'm going to explain what that means, and then I'll do a partial teardown of this version 6 to show you what they have changed from the previous version. So at this point, the DualSense has been around for about half a decade, and over that time, Sony has decided to make changes to the board inside a total of 6 times. With each of those board changes, they also changed some of the mechanisms inside that were attached to the board. I have been tracking those changes and have already made a couple of videos comparing the insides of the first 5 versions. I didn't think they would change it again, but here we are. This one I'm showing you right now may look like any other DualSense, but it's a version 6. How do I know that? I scanned the QR code on the back, which causes the serial number to appear on the screen. The second character of that number tells me the version number. And once I get inside, you'll see that the board has a 6 on it as well. I ordered this one off Amazon. I'll leave the link that I used down below, but there's no guarantee that using that same link will get you a version 6, since some Amazon warehouses may still have older stock. Note, I do not think there's any way to tell what version a DualSense is by looking at the box, since the box doesn't have the serial number on it, just the model number and a bunch of other numbers. The color of the DualSense doesn't really tell you anything about what version it is either. Does it really matter what version you have? If you're doing repairs or modifications, it does matter, because you kind of have to know the version number to make sure you order the correct parts. That's pretty much the only benefit. Some people may claim that one version is better than another version, but as someone who has played with every version, I personally don't feel much of a difference between them. The trigger buttons on the version 1 and 2 do feel a little bit more stiff than the other versions, but other than that, they all felt identical. Now, if I owned a lab that had machines testing every version, maybe I could say more, but I'm not aware of anyone testing these controllers in that way. I make these videos because I'm driven by curiosity. If I had to make a recommendation, just buy whatever is new. New is always going to be better than used due to how many problems these DualSenses develop over time. So why does Sony keep changing the things inside the DualSense? To my knowledge, they don't ever talk about it, but one can speculate that there are 2 main motivations. One is to save money. They find cheaper ways to make the components and then implement them using a new board. And 2, certain components malfunction a lot, so they are constantly redesigning them to make them better. Number 2 kind of feeds into number 1, because having parts that function correctly will reduce the amount of warranty repairs Sony has to pay for and reduce the number of returns. Time for the partial teardown. As I mentioned, I'll be comparing it to the version 5, which I have right here. That one is black, the new one is white. For the rest of this video, I'll be calling them V5 and V6. The first difference is noticeable right away. The battery holder has been redesigned. It's beefier, and there's more of a wall along the bottom. Here's what it looks like on the V5. And there's no longer a microphone sitting on top of it, like the one here on the V5. That would be the microphone that's on the back. All the prior versions, 1 through 5, had the mic sitting on that holder. I'm happy that it's no longer there, because it was kind of a pain in the butt whenever I was going inside a DualSense. It had a tiny ribbon cable with a little piece on the end. It was easy to tear that ribbon, and that little piece would fall off the ribbon quite easily. Upon removing the battery holder, I still did not see the mic, and the connector for that ribbon is gone. So they either got rid of the mic altogether, or they integrated it into this black piece that's attached to the board. That piece has the audio jack and the contacts for charging stations. The piece was also on the V5, but it looked a little different. I zoomed in on the V6 piece, looking for a little hole where it could receive sound, but I did not see one. Still, I cannot believe that Sony would get rid of the back microphone. I think it helps with some of the noise cancellation for the front mic. If I had to bet on it, that black piece has the mic inside of it. I would desolder that piece off the board and look inside, but I am too scared of ruining this controller. They are still pretty expensive, so I would like to keep it for future games. Note there has been no change to the front microphone. Moving on, I noticed that one of the chips is situated on the board in a different way. It's no big deal, but I thought I would point it out. That new board also confirms that this is a version 6. I then turned my attention to the trigger mechanism, as I call it. That's where the shorter buttons and adaptive trigger components come together. Sony seems to have a lot of problems with it, because prior to now, they have been changing the mechanism in every single version, sometimes drastically. But not this time. It appears to be 100% the same as the one on the V5. It even has the same removable piece that was introduced with the V5. The battery is also the same as the V5 one. The L1 and R1 buttons are the same too. In a prior version, they had been different. That's why I checked them. The analog sticks appear to be exactly the same. No surprise there. I even tested both of them within a game and felt no difference. I was about to declare the microphone, battery holder, and the tiny chip to be the only things that were different, but then I saw the V6 doesn't have the little rings that go around the analog stick casings. Sometimes they are referred to as accent rings. I believe their purpose is to reduce the amount of grinding damage that the analog stick does when you move it around the housing. Those rings have been on every DualSense version until now, though a lot of people don't notice them because they're so integrated within the housing. There are some people out there that do notice them and change them out to different colors and stuff like that. But on the V6, I don't think they will be able to do it as easily. The grooves are not there to hold a ring in like they were in the previous ones. Honestly, it doesn't feel any different when I push it around, but I am worried about the lack of the ring because it could cause more plastic to grind off over time, and that stuff gets down into the analog stick and can cause drift. So that's it. I did not find anything else different about this controller, but if you would like to learn more about the differences between the previous versions, I encourage you to watch my previous video about it.